You probably already know that muscle loss after 70 is one of the biggest reasons people lose their independence. What you might not know is that your muscles are making a decision 3 times every day: build or break down. And after 25 years helping seniors stay out of the ER, I've learned something most doctors miss. It's not about eating more protein, it's about hitting a specific number, 2.5 grams of leucine, at exactly the right moments. Now, I know what you're thinking. Here we go, another complicated diet plan. But these 4 cheese pairings, they're the simplest muscle protection system I've ever found. Let me show you exactly how they work. Let's start with the first pairing. Cottage cheese with seeds and egg. Have you ever noticed why some 70-year-olds wake up ready to move, while others need 10 minutes just to get out of bed? Your muscles are making a critical decision within the first hour of waking up, too said, and most people send them the wrong signal. Let me explain what's happening in your body. After sleeping all night, your muscles haven't received any protein for 8 hours. At this moment, they're deciding whether to start building for the day or continue breaking down. This is where cottage cheese becomes powerful. It contains whey protein, 18 whey, a fast-acting protein that hits your bloodstream within 30 to 45 minutes. It's like sending an emergency signal to your muscles that says, "Start building now." But here's the thing. 3/4 of a cup of cottage cheese gives you about 1.5 grams of leucine, and research from 2024 shows your muscles need at least 2.5 grams in one sitting to flip that switch from breaking down to building up. This number, 2.5 grams, is what scientists call the leucine threshold. Think of it like a light switch. Below 2.5 grams, your muscles stay in breakdown mode. Above 2.5 grams, you flip the switch to building mode. So with cottage cheese alone, we're close but not quite there. That's why we need the pairing. 2 tablespoons of pumpkin seeds add 0.4 grams of leucine plus zinc and magnesium your muscles need. Add 1 hard-boiled egg for another 0.5 grams, and now you've crossed the threshold. 2.5 grams of leucine, 25 grams of total protein. Does this actually work in real people? Here's what the research shows. In August 2024, researchers in China worked with 68 women between ages 60 and 80 who had what doctors call possible sarcopenia, meaning they were starting to lose muscle mass and strength. They split them into 3 groups. One group ate their normal diet. The other 2 groups added cheese to their daily routine. One group got cheese with 9 grams of protein per serving. The other got cheese with about 13 grams of protein per serving. After 90 days, something remarkable happened. The women eating cheese daily gained muscle mass. Their skeletal muscle mass index went up by 0.18 kilograms per square meter. That might not sound like much, but here's what it meant in real life. These women maintained their ability to climb stairs without holding the railing. They could get up from a chair without pushing off with their arms. They could carry their own groceries from the car to the kitchen. The control group? They continued losing muscle during those same 90 days. The difference wasn't genetics. It wasn't luck. It was consistent leucine intake hitting that threshold. And the researchers found that the effects were strongest in women who were already starting to lose muscle, the exact group that needs this most. So how do you actually do this at home? Let me walk you through it step by step. Take 3/4 of a cup of low-fat cottage cheese. The 1% fat version works perfectly. Add 2 tablespoons of pumpkin seeds, already shelled from any grocery store. Then add 1 hard-boiled egg on the side. You can prep your eggs for the whole week on Sunday. They'll keep in the refrigerator for 7 days, which means you're doing the work once and eating easy all week. Now, timing is critical here. Eat this within 1 hour of waking up. Your muscles are most receptive to that building signal right after the overnight fast, and that's when the whey protein can work its fastest. Here's what multiplies the effect. After you eat, take a gentle 10-minute walk. Nothing strenuous, just a walk around your neighborhood or even around your house. That light movement helps shuttle those amino acids from your bloodstream directly into your muscle cells. If you have trouble walking, even standing up and doing some gentle arm movements will help. The key is any kind of light movement within 30 minutes after eating. Budget-wise, this costs less than $2 per serving. Cottage cheese in bulk is about $1. A dozen eggs gives you 12 servings for $3. Pumpkin seeds work out to about 30 cents per serving. And if you don't like cottage cheese texture, blend it with the seeds into a smoothie. Add berries if you want, and it becomes smooth and drinkable in 2 minutes. So, what does all this mean for your daily life? When you cross that 2.5 gram threshold every morning, you're telling your muscles, build today. Don't break down. That's the difference between seniors who get out of bed without pushing off with their arms and those who need help. But here's what you need to understand. Morning activation is just the first piece. Your muscles need feeding every 3 to 4 hours. And if you miss that midday window, here's what happens. That morning signal starts to fade. By 2 p.m., many seniors feel exhausted, not because they've done too much, but because their muscles are running empty. That's where the second pairing comes in, and it works completely differently from this morning one. Let's move to pairing number 2, aged cheddar with beans. You ate a good breakfast with that cottage cheese. You felt great, but by 2 p.m., you're exhausted, not from doing too much, from your muscles running empty. Why do some people stay energized all afternoon, while others need an afternoon nap just to make dinner? The answer is in how long your protein lasts. Remember that cottage cheese has fast-acting whey protein? That's perfect for morning because you need that quick signal. But whey protein gets used up relatively quickly, usually within 2 to 3 hours. So by lunchtime, that morning signal is fading. Your muscles need feeding again, but this time, you need something different. You need protein that lasts longer. This is where aged cheddar or Swiss cheese becomes powerful. These cheeses are made primarily from casein protein, which works completely differently from whey. Casein is what scientists call a slow-release protein. When you eat cheddar, it doesn't rush into your bloodstream like whey does. Instead, it releases amino acids slowly and steadily for 4 to 6 hours. Think of it like a time-release capsule that keeps feeding your muscles all afternoon. 2 ounces of aged cheddar gives you about 1.4 grams of leucine, but we need to get to that 2.5 gram threshold again, so we pair it with half a cup of white beans. The beans add another 0.6 grams of leucine, plus they do something else important. They complete the amino acid profile, giving your muscles everything they need to build. Research shows this combination keeps your muscles fed from lunch all the way through dinner. A study on protein digestion in elderly adults found something remarkable about casein-based cheeses like cheddar. When researchers tracked amino acid levels in the blood after people ate cheddar cheese, they found that amino acids peaked around 120 minutes after eating, much slower than whey's 45-minute peak. But here's the important part. Those amino acid levels stayed elevated for 4 to 6 hours. In practical terms, this meant that elderly participants in the study maintained their afternoon strength scores. They could complete tasks like grocery shopping and light housework without the fatigue that usually hits around 2 or 3 p.m. Another study looked specifically at Swiss cheese and found it contains vitamin K2, a nutrient that's crucial for people over 70. Vitamin K2 helps prevent calcium from building up in your arteries, while making sure calcium gets into your bones where it belongs. This is important because heart disease risk increases with age, and vitamin K2 addresses both heart and bone health at the same time. The combination of sustained protein release plus these additional nutrients makes this midday pairing particularly powerful for maintaining both muscle and overall health throughout the afternoon. Now here's how to put this into practice in your daily routine. Take 2 ounces of aged cheddar or Swiss cheese. That's about the size of 2 dice stacked together. Pair it with half a cup of white beans. You can use canned beans, which makes this incredibly easy. One simple way to do this is to make a quick bean soup and melt the cheese on top. Or you can add cubed cheese and beans to a salad. If you want to hit that 3-gram leucine threshold, add 2 ounces of deli turkey or 2 string cheese sticks as your booster. The timing matters just as much as the food. Eat this 4 to 5 hours after breakfast, typically at lunch. This spacing ensures your muscles never run empty. Here's the supporting habit that makes this even more effective. 2 to 3 hours after lunch, when those amino acids are still circulating in your bloodstream, do 10 chair sit to stands. Just stand up from your chair and sit back down 10 times. This takes about 2 minutes and tells your muscles to use those amino acids for building. Budget-wise, block cheese is cheaper than sliced. You can buy a pound for about $6, which gives you 8 servings. Canned white beans cost about $1 per can, which is 3 servings. The prep time is about 10 minutes for a simple bean soup with melted cheese on top. Sustained casein feeding is why some 7-5-year-olds can run errands all afternoon while others are too tired to cook dinner. You're not fueling for 1 hour, you're fueling for 6. Most seniors nail breakfast, but then wonder why their energy crashes by mid-afternoon. Now you've got your morning covered with cottage cheese, your afternoon protected with cheddar. But the most important window? That happens while you're sleeping. Every night, your body makes a choice. Rebuild what you used today, or let it deteriorate. And most people over 70 are sending their muscles the wrong signal at bedtime. The third pairing changes that completely. Let's move to pairing number 3, Parmesan with lentils. Every night, your body makes a choice while you sleep. Rebuild what you used today, or let it deteriorate. And most people over 70 send their muscles the wrong signal at bedtime. Why do some seniors wake up feeling restored, while others feel like they aged overnight? The answer lies in what happens during those 8 hours of sleep. Your body does its most important muscle repair work overnight, but it can only rebuild if it has the right materials available. This is where evening protein becomes critical, and Parmesan cheese offers something unique. Parmesan is an aged cheese, typically aged for 18 to 24 months. During that aging process, something remarkable happens. The proteins break down into smaller peptides and free amino acids. This pre-digestion makes Parmesan much easier for your body to absorb, especially important for people over 70 whose digestive systems don't work as efficiently as they used to. 1/3 cup of grated Parmesan gives you about 1.8 grams of leucine. Pair it with 3/4 cup of cooked lentils, and you add another 0.6 grams. That gets you to 2.4 grams, right at the threshold. But here's what makes this pairing special for evening. Lentils provide what scientists call a dual-phase protein release. Part of their protein acts quickly, while another part releases slowly throughout the night. Combined with Parmesan's easy-to-absorb amino acids, your muscles get an 8-hour feeding window while you sleep. Research from 2001 on elderly men found something important about protein timing and exercise. The study compared two groups of elderly men doing resistance training. One group consumed protein immediately after their exercise. The other group waited 2 hours before eating protein. After 12 weeks, the immediate protein group showed significant muscle growth, what scientists call hypertrophy. The delayed group showed minimal gains. But here's what's relevant for evening meals. The researchers also found that elderly men who consumed protein in the evening before bed maintained what's called a positive protein balance overnight. This means their bodies were building muscle instead of breaking it down during those 8 hours of sleep. The practical outcome? Men in the evening protein group showed improved balance in morning tests. They could dress while standing up. They could put on their socks without sitting down. These might seem like small things, but they're the markers of maintained independence. Another key finding: the aging process naturally creates what scientists call anabolic resistance. Your muscles become less responsive to protein as you age. But the combination of evening protein plus light resistance activity before the meal overcomes this resistance. This is why the timing and pairing of this evening meal matters so much for people over 70. Take 1/3 cup of grated Parmesan cheese and 3/4 of a cup of cooked lentils, either in a soup, a stew, or mixed into a salad. If you want to hit that full 3-gram leucine threshold, add 2 ounces of ricotta cheese on the side. Here's the critical timing. Eat this at early dinner, around 5 or 6 p.m., which puts it 3 to 4 hours before bedtime. This ensures the protein is digested and those amino acids are available when your body starts its overnight repair work. Now here's what multiplies the effect. Before you eat dinner, do 2 sets of light resistance band exercises, simple arm curls and leg extensions. Takes about 5 minutes total. Exercise plus immediate protein creates maximum muscle protein synthesis in elderly adults. Budget tip: save the Parmesan rind to flavor your lentil soup, then grate it at the end. Dry lentils cost pennies per serving. Prep time is about 15 minutes for a simple 1-pot lentil soup with Parmesan stirred in. When you give your muscles pre-digested protein before bed, they spend 8 hours rebuilding instead of 8 hours deteriorating. That's why some 80-year-olds wake up with better balance than they had yesterday. Their muscles had the materials to repair overnight. So now you have 3 pairings: morning activation with cottage cheese, afternoon sustaining with cheddar, evening rebuilding with Parmesan. These 3 cover your basic muscle protection. But there's a 4th pairing that separates people who just maintain their strength from those who actually regain strength they thought was gone forever. This last one is the rebuilding strategy. Let's move to the 4th and final pairing: ricotta with almonds. High-functioning 80-year-olds have a secret. They don't just prevent muscle loss, they actively rebuild what they thought was gone. Can you really regain strength you thought was lost forever? Or is muscle loss after 70 a one-way street? Here's what most people don't realize. The first 3 pairings protect your muscle, they prevent loss. But this 4th pairing does something different. It helps you rebuild. The key is timing this pairing around physical activity. Ricotta cheese is rich in whey protein, that fast-acting protein we talked about in the morning pairing. But using it after activity creates a completely different effect. When you move your muscles and then immediately feed them protein, you're opening what scientists call the anabolic window. Half a cup of ricotta gives you about 0.8 grams of leucine. Add a 1/4 cup of almonds for another 0.6 grams. That's 1.4 grams, below our threshold. But here's the thing. After physical activity, your muscles become more sensitive to leucine. Research shows that the threshold actually drops slightly when you've just exercised. Still, to maximize the effect, you can add 3 ounces of smoked salmon as your booster, which brings you well over 2.5 grams. The almonds add something else important, vitamin E, which reduces inflammation in muscles. This helps with recovery, especially important for seniors whose bodies produce more inflammatory compounds with age. What makes this pairing special is its flexibility. A meta-analysis looking at elderly adults and protein supplementation found something important. When elderly people took protein supplements without any physical activity, the results were minimal. Their muscles barely responded. But when researchers combined even light activity with strategic protein intake, the results changed dramatically. Elderly participants showed significant increases in muscle mass. Not just maintenance, actual growth. The key finding was this: the protein timing mattered more than the intensity of the exercise. Even a 10-minute walk, followed within 2 hours by adequate protein, created a muscle-building response. In practical terms, patients in these studies regained abilities they thought were permanently lost. They could carry groceries again after years of asking for help. They could lift their grandchildren. They could get their own suitcase into the overhead bin on planes. The researchers found that this effect was strongest in people who had already lost significant muscle mass. The group that needed it most responded best. This is why I call this the strategic pairing. You're not eating it on a schedule like the other 3. You're timing it strategically after any kind of movement. Walking, gardening, shopping, even housework. Now, here's how to use this in your daily life. Take half a cup of ricotta cheese and a 1/4 cup of almonds. You can eat them together or separately. For the best results, add 3 ounces of smoked salmon. The timing is flexible but critical. Eat this within 2 hours after any light physical activity. That could be after your morning walk, after grocery shopping, after gardening, even after cleaning the house. The key is matching protein to movement. When you use your muscles and then feed them, they respond. This pairing works both ways, sweet or savory. For sweet, mix ricotta with almonds and berries. For savory, spread ricotta on crackers, top with smoked salmon, and add almonds on the side. Budget-wise, ricotta costs about $3 per container, giving you 4 servings. Whole almonds are cheaper than sliced. Smoked salmon can be pricey, but you can use canned salmon instead. Same protein, much cheaper. Prep time is just 5 minutes. This is the difference between maintaining what you have and getting back what you lost. Strategic post-activity protein is like compound interest for your muscles. It's why some of my patients carry their own suitcases again after years of asking for help. Now you have all 4 pieces, 4 pairings, 4 windows, 4 chances every day to send your muscles the signal to build. Morning activation with cottage cheese, afternoon sustaining with cheddar, evening rebuilding with Parmesan, strategic boosting with ricotta after activity. But how do these 4 pairings work together? And how do you actually start using them tomorrow? Let me bring this all together for you. Now you have 4 strategic cheese pairings that hit that critical 2.5 gram leucine threshold your muscles need. Cottage cheese with seeds and egg in the morning, that's your build signal at 2.5 grams of leucine. Aged cheddar with beans at lunch, 3 grams for sustained afternoon strength. Parmesan with lentils at dinner, 3.2 grams for overnight repair. And ricotta with almonds after activity, your rebuilding strategy. Each pairing sends a clear message to your muscles at exactly the right time. Now you see it. Independence after 70 isn't about luck or genetics. It's about giving your muscles the right signal at the right time. 4 strategic moments every day. People who do this consistently, they're the ones still driving themselves at 80, still traveling at 85, still living in their own homes at 90. Not because they're special, because they fed their muscles 2.5 grams of leucine when it mattered most. Start with pairing hashone tomorrow morning, just that one. The cottage cheese with seeds and egg. Master it for a week. Then add pairing hash 3 at dinner. Build from there. You don't need all 4 at once, just consistent progress. In 25 years, I've seen patients reverse muscle loss they thought was permanent. Your muscles are ready to respond. They're waiting for that signal. The difference between staying independent and losing it is measured in these small choices, compounded over months and years. Which pairing are you starting with tomorrow? Drop a comment and let me know if you're a cottage cheese person or a cheddar person. I'd love to hear which strategy resonates with you. And if you have questions about portions or timing, ask away. I read every comment,